Welcome to CSL TV, and I just hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is just a review, a reaction, and an informational channel. Hopefully the informational part help you and someone else, as well as we're going to watch some videos and talk about the shit. Nothing special, but if you've been rocking with me, I appreciate you so much. You know what I'm saying? The feedback, like I said, the comments is what ignite me and keep me going, because it shows me you guys are rocking with me. But anyway, I ain't gonna talk too much. Let's get it.
A child would be a nightmare situation for any parent, and for Michael Chekevdia became a reality. After 2 years, it seemed like he would never find his missing boy. That's until police took a look behind the dresser when Ricky Chekevdia went missing along with his
Oh man, I don't like how this starting already. Kid was missing for 2 years and they looked behind a dresser.
Missing along with his mother Shannon in 2007. Police searched extensively for any trace of them. Michael soon became the main suspect in the disappearance, with police suspecting foul play in the early stages of the investigation. And Shannon's mother, Diane Dobbs, supported this, claiming Michael was abusive to his wife and son. But then police
That's sad. I hope this ain't one of those situations where the dad took his anger and frustration out on the kid.
Then police became confident that Shannon had fled to avoid handing over the custody of Ricky, only for Diane to hit back by saying she probably left to avoid any more abuse. And shortly after, she began handing out flyers detailing the horrible things the father allegedly did to his family. This effort Diane was putting into blackening Michael's name made the police wary of her. They questioned whether the grandmother was trying to shift the suspicion from her daughter. This prompted the police to search Shannon's home, but they found no evidence of her daughter or grandson ever living there. As time went on, police shifted their resources away from finding Ricky, and people began to forget about the missing boy. That was until the police received an anonymous phone call that tipped the case on its head. The caller simply said, "Check behind the dresser." The police issued another warrant and returned to Diane's house. This time, however, they had one particular spot they wanted to check. When officers entered one of the rooms, they discovered a large wooden wardrobe. After pulling it out, they were stunned to see an entrance to a secret room. Their hearts dropped, thinking that they may have just come across the hiding place of Ricky's body. Instead, they saw two faces looking back at them from the darkness, Shannon and Ricky. When interviewed, the boy described how he had spent the last 2 years in isolation and was never allowed to leave Diane's house. When police took him outside, the boy ran out into the sunlight and began jumping around on the grass. Sadly, this time in isolation took its toll on the 6-year-old. He developed a speech impediment, had limited writing skills, and was socially behind as a result of the time he spent inside the wall. The case gained a lot of media attention, and Ricky became known as the boy behind the wall. Soon after Ricky was discovered, Diane and her mother were arrested and charged. After being released on bail, Diane tried to plead her innocence on Good Morning America, claiming that Ricky had only spent 5 minutes in the small room behind the dresser, and that the boy was allowed outside and lived a normal life. Unfortunately,
We all know that was cap. If the boy had a normal life, for one, when they came there the first time, you was lying like, "Oh, I don't know where my baby's at, and the dad was this and the dad was that." Really, lady?
Normal life. Unfortunately for Diane, the plan backfired when neighbors said that they had never seen the child, and she was rearrested shortly after. Eventually, Ricky was reunited with his father while his mother and grandmother were locked away in county jail, awaiting trial. During the 2011 court hearing, Shannon pleaded guilty to abducting Ricky and keeping him in prison for 2 years. Shannon was only fined $1,500 and was given 30 days in prison, which the judge credited her for the days she already spent behind bars. Diane Dobbs, who helped orchestrate the cruel plan, also pleaded guilty to abduction and was only fined $1,000. Despite the ordeal, Ricky has gone on to live a normal and well-adjusted life with his father, Michael, who quit the National Guard to raise him in a loving environment. Now a teenager, Ricky enjoys playing a variety of sports, with his dad standing on the sidelines, cheering him on.
Dad was in the military. And he was like, you know what? Let me quit this shit and attend to my kid. And that's how it's supposed to be. When your kids being neglected, as a parent myself, you got to do what you need to do because you never know. You know what I'm saying? In this type of situation, I couldn't even imagine how he felt. And then this crazy manipulative lady, ex-wife of his, was trying to make it seem like it was all on him. I wonder who had tipped the police that look behind the dresser, look behind the dresser. Who in the world tipped them that? I wonder if it was somebody in the household that tipped them that. Because that's just crazy to me, you know what I'm saying?
Today marks a grim milestone in our country's history. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the horrific mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas. At Robb Elementary School, an 18-year-old gunman made his way into 2 adjoining classrooms. But in spite of the active shooter situation, officers on the scene did not enter the classrooms, and the police chief repeatedly tried to negotiate with the gunman.
Let me know if there's any kids in there or anything. Sir, if you can hear me, please put your firearm down, sir. We don't want anybody else hurt. Please put your gun down, sir.
It took officers 77 minutes to invade the classroom and kill the shooter, who had shot and killed 19 elementary school students and 2 teachers. In the aftermath of this brutal massacre, a Texas House committee released this damning report, which examined the systemic failures and incredibly poor decision-making of the 376 officers on the scene. Yes, 376 officers were there. At school board meetings, community members pleaded for action.
My daughter has something to say.
This was the last dress that all my friends saw me on. Most of those kids were my friends. And that's not good. And I don't want to go to your guys' school if they don't have protection.
And she's encouraging for her friends not to go to school too.
Do you want to bring healing to this community, to these families? I would suggest that you, the Chief of Police, Uvalde Chief of Police, the Uvalde Sheriff's Office, and McCraw, and all those other law enforcement agencies who are in that hall, all come up here and tell these people, these families, we failed you. We failed you.
What are you guys gonna do to make sure I don't have to watch my friends die? What are you gonna do to make sure I don't have to wait 77 minutes bleeding out on my classroom floor just like my little sister did? I know there's nothing you can do to bring my sister back, but maybe if you do something to change this, you can prevent the next family from losing their child.
But 1 year later, there's tragically little progress to show. The Uvalde School Board fired its school district police chief for cause, but he remains just one of a handful of officers who lost their jobs over the botched police response. Investigations into the entire response still remain open, but several remain unresolved and ongoing. Since being plagued by such heinous violence, the community itself has been torn apart because little progress has been made. At this school year's final board meeting, one resident said,
"It's been a year and nothing has changed. We're still stuck on May 24th.
It's still legal to buy the type of gun the killer used, the AR-15, which was originally designed as a weapon of war for military purposes. But billion-dollar corporations, gun manufacturers, have led many to believe these instruments of death are an inalienable right. That is not the case. After mass shootings in New Zealand, Australia, and the United Kingdom, governments reformed laws to restrict firearms to protect its citizens. The USA itself had its own assault weapons ban beginning in 1994 after a string of mass shootings in the late 80s and early 90s. Multiple academic studies found that the ban worked, with fewer gun massacres from 1994 to 2004. But Republicans allowed that 10-year ban to expire in 2004, and since then, the number of mass shootings has dramatically spiked. The Uvalde massacre was just one of 647 mass shootings in America in 2022. Exactly 1 year later, the US has seen 237 and is on pace to match or exceed that number by year's end.
Man, shout out to my man Greg over at Crime Line. This shit's still sad to hear that this went on. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just happy that they sort of handled the problem by getting rid of the ones that wasn't trying to do nothing. You know, your job is to protect and serve. And y'all boys was on standby, just chilling. While this lunatic in there killing little kids now. A little kid, I don't even know any little kid. Hey, I'm putting my life on line for you because you a little person who don't know nothing about what's going on. And that much authority, I just gotta say, man, condolences to the family. I hope things do get better. But as we see this trend in this country, when will that happen?